أهلا بكم مشاهدي ايتك عبر قناة الحرة. نحن معكم للأسبوع الرابع على التوالي من هنا من مدينة هانوفر بألمانيا، متابعة للتغطية الخاصة والحصرية بايتك لمعرض سيبت هانوفر 2010. هذا المعرض الأكبر عالميا في عالم التقنيات. الأسابيع الثلاث الماضية كنا معكم من هنا في ايتك، هذا الأسبوع الرابع والأخير في جرين ايتك، أهم التقنيات الخضراء التي عرضت هنا في سيبت هانوفر 2010. قبل الانطلاق كالعادة نتواصل دائما عبر بريدنا الإلكتروني itek@alhurra.com. يمكن مشاهدة هذه الحلقة وحلقات أخرى من ايتك في أي وقت على الإنترنت على موقع youtube.com/الحرة. آخر أخبار التقنيات والبرنامج تابعوها دائما من خلال ايتك شو على فيسبوك وتويتر. قبل الانطلاق ماذا سنشاهد معنا اليوم في جرين ايتك من سيبت هانوفر 2010؟
حلول تقنية المعلومات للاستدامة، مناطق الحد الأدنى للانبعاث الحراري، مقارنة حية بين مكتب الماضي واليوم، سيارات كهربائية تشحن من الهواء، التدوير اليدوي مقابل التدوير الآلي.
كيف يمكن لتقنية المعلومات أن تساهم في الاستدامة والتقنيات الخضراء؟ الجواب من سيمنز في نظرتها إلى هذا الموضوع. ما الذي تقدمه سيمنز للحفاظ على البيئة ولتأمين تقنيات خضراء صديقة للأرض من خلال حلول تقنية المعلومات Information Technologies؟
We're showing on this booth here, we're talking about enterprise carbon and energy management solutions. That basically allows an organization to understand its own energy consumption, to understand where there's optimization potential, to create transparency, and also if there are any regulatory aspects. If you look at a data center, 30% of the operating costs are energy costs. So there's massive potential there. You need IT to really understand where all of these aspects are breaking down to the level of granularity. We're focusing on the public sector, talking about the city cockpit earlier on, talking about in general what we can offer the public sector, because if you look at the public sector, they're looking at it at a broader aspect than just energy efficiency. They're looking at sustainability, talking about social measures, talking about environmental measures from a broader perspective, not just energy consumption, but also emissions from traffic, and bringing those all together, IT as intelligence. And on top of that, we've got a stand going into the classic topic of our IT energy efficiency of the infrastructure, talking about how to improve the energy efficiency of your data center or desktop. E-car, great topic. A lot of potential behind that in reducing the pollution within towns. What we've got here is just a little example. You're going to have to excuse me, we didn't have the space to have an actual e-car here at the moment, but we've got a little device here which is signifying a car with the light. So as you can imagine, that's the actual car. Now in the future, you could have parking devices such as this, which is conventional, and you would be able on these typical parking devices to also just charge up your e-car, to just put it into your car. Now what's happening at the moment is the car and this device, the charging device is verifying which car that is. It's verifying this is the car, and also it's bringing the information into the SAP systems or whatever systems happen to be behind that. So it takes a couple of minutes to verify, and here we go, the charging's begun. So you take it out, you've charged up enough, and now the information is being passed on to a system. The car drives away, and he will essentially get a bill for how much energy he's been charged for, how much energy he's actually consumed. If you look at this top line here, it's the car that we just charged up that's been registered here. This is the number of the car, and if you look here, that's the time you started and finished it, and this is the actual total amount of energy you consume. It says here, in that time we took on board 3 kilowatt hours of energy. Now what you've got to do is you've got to be able to charge automatically these people. This is what the term meter to bill means. It means getting these systems, allowing these operations to take place, and the charging behind it to happen automatically. Siemens.com/environmental portfolio.
جامعة ألمانية و5 شركات اجتمعوا سويا لتقديم نموذج لمنطقة فيها الحد الأدنى من الانبعاث الحراري. MeRegio هي Minimum Emission Region، لنتعرف معا كيف يمكن الوصول إلى ذلك.
We have here a nice wall with some signal system here, and we have shown here two use cases, let's say. One use case, for example, is that, for example, a lot of renewable energy is in the smart grid existing, and this information is directed to the smart meter, the NBW smart meter in the households, and the smart meter again gives the same information in two ways to the household owner. The first one is a price signal. For example, now the price is quite low, so the households know, okay, now we should use the energy. And the second signal is a signal directly to, for example, a fridge, to any kind of use cases afterwards. And also there, the fridge, for example, knows the energy is there in the smart grid. We should use the energy now, and because the price is, for example, low. And so the fridge is cooling much more than before. And the second use case is we have no renewable energy, for example, in the smart grid system. This information again goes via the smart meter to the price display at the household, and again to the machines in the households. And it says, now let's do not use any energy anymore because it's expensive or it's producing a lot of CO2. And instead of that, from a storage system, for example, a battery or a car, energy should be pushed back again to the smart grid. We are in the project having a focus on all renewable energies, decentralized energy systems. And this is, for example, wind and solar energy. When you have a lot of energy, you should also use it, because in the smart grid, the levels of using and producing energy should always be the same. When you're, for example, having a lot of wind energy in the smart grid, then you have to lower down the fossil energy plants. And this is quite expensive. So if you do not have to do it because the people in the households use more energy, it's less expensive for the whole system, for the whole society actually. And this is the price part of the whole project. The second part is the CO2 part. Of course, when you're using solar energy and wind energy, you're producing in some much less CO2 emissions. So this is the second target of the project. If you have a lot of renewable energy in the system, you should use it. This is www.meregio.de.
بيتكوم الجمعية الألمانية لتقنية المعلومات والاتصالات والوسائط المتعددة عرضت هنا في سيبت هانوفر 2010 مقارنة حية بين مكتبين، الأول من العام 2005 والثاني من العام 2010 حول كمية الطاقة التي تستخدم والفرق الكبير باستهلاكها بين النموذجين.
Today we want to focus on green in IT, so how you can really save energy with modern equipment. So we established an office here. So this office has two parts. The one is from 2005, products that are still used today in a lot of offices and a lot of companies, also with a lot of private consumers. So you see the CRT monitor, for instance, or a big desktop PC. And on the other hand, we have a very modern one with the latest power management, with very innovative products from 2010. What you can see here, this is the energy baseline. So the whole environment just needs less than 20 watts if nothing is done. And this is more than 100 with the products that are 5 years old. They are all very good products and have been also in 2005. They have the eco label and all those things. But what gets clear here, that over 5 years, a lot with the technology could be achieved. And if now you start the printer, please, and the PC and the monitor, then you see when everything is running, that the electricity that it goes up, but that it's still just about 40 watt in the modern equipment and that it's more about 250 in the older one. So the difference that makes is huge. And that means if you take the costs of electricity and you count this for a whole year, you can save in a modern equipment about 300 euros in every single office, only because you use latest ICT technologies and power management. And this is of course not just a saving with CO2 emissions, but also of money. So on the one hand it's a CRT monitor, it's a desktop PC, and it's a standalone printer and scanner. This is a typical office equipment. It has been in 2005. And on the other hand, we see very latest technology, a flat screen, energy optimized notebook, and a multifunctional device. So in one product you have the scanner and the printer and the copier and the fax machine. So we need from 4 we go to 1, so this is less resources you need, and they have much better power management. So for instance, if they print something, so turn on both printers, you see that it's going up with both, but it's always a level and it's still about 50 here. So the difference is really huge. The Green IT hotline, because we saw that a lot of small and medium companies and also a lot of people in public sector, they still do not know about all the solutions. What can we do? What about the cooling in data center? What about thin clients in the offices? What about server technologies? And this is a Green IT hotline where the companies can call us, we give them information, and also how to get some funding from the state, well, to increase your ICT infrastructures. So we'll find all this information www.bitkom.org.
مشاهدي ايتك عبر قناة الحرة، نتابع معكم جرين ايتك من هانوفر، وسنشاهد معا بعد الفاصل
سيارات كهربائية تشحن من الهواء، التدوير اليدوي مقابل التدوير الآلي. تتابعون ايتك عبر الحرة والحرة.com ويوتيوب.com/الحرة، وآخر أخبار التقنيات والبرنامج من خلال فيسبوك وتويتر على ايتك شو. تتابعون ايتك عبر الحرة والحرة.com ويوتيوب.com/الحرة، وآخر أخبار التقنيات والبرنامج من خلال فيسبوك وتويتر على ايتك شو.
بعد هذا الفاصل نعود إليكم مشاهدي جرين ايتك عبر قناة الحرة لنتابع التغطية الخاصة بايتك لمعرض سيبت هانوفر 2010. سنشاهد معا الآن
سيارات كهربائية تشحن من الهواء، التدوير اليدوي مقابل التدوير الآلي.
سيارات كهربائية تشحن من الهواء هي في صلب مشروع أبحاث صديق للبيئة تعمل عليه IBM لجزيرة في الدنمارك بدعم من الحكومة الدنماركية. اسم المشروع إديسون. الأبحاث تستغرق 3 سنوات، مرت سنة واحدة حتى الآن على الإطلاق. ما هو مشروع إديسون من IBM؟
The main idea is that for each new electrical vehicle that you put onto the grid, we can use renewable energies. Renewable energies are wind and solar, and the wind can stop and there can be storms. And the major challenge with the wind and the sun is that you never know how much energy you've got. The wind does not blow when you need the energy. And the electrical car has a battery which is there to drive. The investment is done when you want to drive. And the battery is connected to the grid. And on the grid, the battery can provide storage, reserve, and in the extreme case, we call this vehicle to grid, even feed back energy to the grid. If we add new cars to the grid, the yellow consumption for the cars adds up to the base consumption in red for the households and the industry. And it's important that the green energies are used for the extra energy consumption needed by the cars. If we try and show this here, we have a lot of wind, lots of cars, and the car batteries fill up. At some point, we stop the wind. Now I stop the wind. Now the full batteries discharge to the grid and actually fill the households and the plants. The plants consuming fossil fuels are stopped. So we are saving fossil fuels, and we do something very good for the carbon balance of the planet. The car being electrical, it's very important that you have your battery full. So same as with your laptop, you're probably trying to make sure that it's always connected when you don't need it. The good news is the car is not for driving, the car is standing 23 out of 24 hours a day. And if you don't know when you need it again, you're going to connect it to the grid. So if you have it grid connected, the battery is so strong, it can actually do service on the grid. The car goes where you and me go. So the first charging spot will be in our homes. The second charging spot is likely to be at work and other places in commercial setups, but also in public space are expected to emerge all over the place. Just go to the website www.zurichibm.com/EDISON.
عملية التدوير وإعادة التصنيع هي في صلب المراحل التي تعتمد للحفاظ على البيئة. هناك نوعان من التدوير، الآلي واليدوي. فوجيتسو تشجع وتعتمد التدوير اليدوي لعدة أسباب تعتبرها مهمة وإيجابية. هذا ما قدمته فوجيتسو في هذا المجال هنا في سيبت هانوفر 2010.
We are asked to demonstrate here the way of manual recycling of IT products in opposite to the normal industrial recycling, where the machines are very often only shredded and separated by automatic machines. We are demonstrating here the manual recycling by separating the different materials and, for example, separating the hazardous substances. In the automatic process, we are not able to separate all the materials that are in the IT products. In the manual recycling, we are with not so much effort able to separate the different fractions and sort them as pure as possible. And if you have pure materials, you are able to sell them on a very good price, and so you can make the recycling process in a balanced way, or sometimes you are able to make a little bit profit of that. Another very important point is you can separate all the hazardous substances in a very pure way, and so you can also do some good benefit for the environment. They are dismantling a normal notebook or a normal TFT here on this workplace and separate it into different fractions. That means, for example, we have here cables, wires with copper in it. In the next box we have any kind of plastics or printed circuit boards or so on. And so they have to separate the materials here by material. That means copper to copper, aluminium to aluminium, and wire to wire, and bring them into the different boxes. We have only one kind of recycling, only this manual way. We are located in Paderborn. It's a small city in the middle of Germany. We are taking back all the recycling material from Germany to the center. That is over the year between 4,500 and 5,000 tons a year that we collect there and that we dismantle there. We are focusing on material from our business customers of Fujitsu. That means if our sales colleagues are in negotiations with the customers about a new equipment, very often they ask us if we take care
for their old equipment too, and then we are able to pick it up at the customer site, bring it to Paderborn and do the dismantling. Depending on the age of the material, sometimes we are able to spend money for that and give the customer money for that, because a notebook that is only 1 or 2 years old is often worth to be refurbished and to resold as used equipment. Over the normal Fujitsu.com site/recycling, you can find every kind of information about the overall recycling in Fujitsu.
في الأسبوع الرابع من التغطية الخاصة بجرين اي تك لمعرض سيبت هانوفر 2010 بألمانيا، شاهدنا معا اليوم
حلول تقنية المعلومات للاستدامة، مناطق الحد الأدنى للانبعاث الحراري، مقارنة حية بين مكتب الماضي واليوم، سيارات كهربائية تشحن من الهواء، التدوير اليدوي مقابل التدوير الآلي.
إلى هنا مشاهدي جرين اي تك نأتي إلى ختام الأسبوع الرابع والأخير من التغطية الخاصة باي تك لمعرض سيبت هانوفر 2010، المعرض الأكبر عالميا في عالم التقنيات من هنا من ألمانيا. الأسبوع المقبل سنلتقي بكم من مكان آخر في العالم. إلى ذلك الحين نتواصل دائما عبر بريدنا الإلكتروني itech@alhurra.com. يمكن مشاهدة هذه الحلقة وحلقات أخرى من ايتك في أي وقت على الإنترنت على موقع youtube.com/الحرة. آخر أخبار التقنيات والبرنامج تابعوها دائما على فيسبوك وتويتر من خلال ايتك شو. شكرا لكم جميعا وإلى اللقاء.